who's going to present on a topic that, frankly, I got to admit, I didn't have a whole lot of insight to. So I'm very grateful that they're here. But before we begin, let me tell you that this presentation and webinar is being recorded for future viewing. And second of all, if you registered for this event through the PTAC, I would appreciate in the chat if you would put your name and company you represent in the chat, so that way I'm going to capture attendance that way. And that is a way to help keep your business active with the PTAC. So I don't have to make those phone calls and emails to you asking you, do you want to remain active with the PTAC? So I am going to, now I'm going to turn it over to Tanya Stark from the Employers Resource Association so that she can introduce her team and do the presentation. And then I will make some concluding remarks after Tanya and her team have finished their presentation. So Tanya, it's over to you.
Thanks so much, Bill. First of all, I'm going to turn things over to my boss, she's the director of ERA, and Ms. Diana Fong.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. We're so excited to partner with PTAC and be here to provide you with information that we feel is very critical and important. So Employers Resource Association, we are a HR association. We're a nonprofit with locations in Cincinnati and in Columbus, but we service the whole state of Ohio in addition to well beyond our tri-state borders. And so we not only support our members as it relates to work that we do, but as needed, we support anyone who's a non-member as well if they're not interested in membership and still need our services. So Tanya, I'm sorry, I backed up to the agenda. You may want to back up one slide. So today, as Bill had referenced, you know, there's some new things that government contractors need to definitely be aware of because there's a very important deadline that is coming up at the end of this month, end of June. And so if you meet certain thresholds that Tanya will talk about a little bit more in detail, you may need to have an affirmative action plan. And so if you don't have an affirmative action plan and you need to certify, you know, the clock is ticking, as we say. So we definitely don't have a whole lot of time since it's already the beginning of June. And this new requirement has a deadline of the end of June. So she'll go over a lot of details related to that. I'll just high level touch base on who we are as an organization. Then Tanya will talk about what we call the OFCCP contractor portal and those 9 items that you see listed there. And then we'll just spend a few more minutes towards the end talking about the membership model with ERA. And then of course, keep it open for Q&As at the end. Thank you. So we're associated with Employers Association of America. And so even though we're here in Ohio, the other locations of EAA are our sister partners is what we call it. They're located throughout the whole United States of America. And but if you know, we do affirmative action plans for our members or non-members, we can still definitely do plans for any state because we have the capability to do so. But we indicate that we have an affirmative action hub with ERA. And what we mean by that is that we offer affirmative action plan support, which is that annual requirement for those who meet certain thresholds that Tanya will talk about a little bit further. And if you get that compliance letter from the OFCCP and they want to do an audit, we can support efforts there as well as far as successfully navigating through that compliance process. We offer AAP education. So whether it's a human resources individual who now has the responsibility of being that affirmative action plan administrator for their organization, we provide education to that individual to help them understand what all they need to know and navigate through. And managers, hiring managers of any government contractor, you know, there's definitely requirements and duties that need to be fulfilled by those individuals as well. And so if you're a member of ERA, we also send out updates and alerts if there's any changes that are coming through, new laws, new government responsibilities, et cetera. And we host quarterly webinars to keep our members informed. And we just do a wide range of other things as well, just to name a few, which is on that slide. Next slide, please. So we like to reference our disclaimer, and I'll just read it. The contents of this presentation are intended to convey general information only and not to provide legal advice or opinions. Employers Resource Association is not a law firm and does not provide legal advice. Use of and access to this webinar and presentation do not create an attorney-client relationship between the reader, trainee, registrant, et cetera, and the Employers Resource Association. I'll turn it over to Tanya.
Thanks, Diana. Welcome, everyone. So before we get started, I'd like everyone to answer a couple of questions. The first one is, how many federal contractors and subcontractors we have attending this event today are required to complete a written affirmative action plan? So if you can pick up your phone, I know it's right beside you, and click on that QR code. I'll give you a minute or so to get that done. Okay, so far 13 responded. Feel free to continue, respond. Yeah, so I like seeing that larger number already have their understand that yes, they are an organization that have to complete an annual plan. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so how many contractors and subcontractors out there are ready to certify AAP compliance via the portal today? Well, not today, via the portal by the end of June. So go ahead and just click on that or take a picture of that QR code. So yeah, so that's pretty much what we've been seeing across the board. We have more people who they're not ready yet or want to know, and we can certainly help you with that. But time's running out, and everyone has to be certified by the end of June. So what are you certifying to? The OFCCP primary focus is to enforce 3 laws. First one is Executive Order 11264, and that prohibits discrimination against women and minorities. You get the section 5 and that protects individuals with disabilities. Vietnam Veterans Era Readjustment Assistance Act, and that protects our Vietnam vets, or protect our veterans.
Tanya, I'm not sure if it's just on my end. You sound a slight bit muffled. I don't know if you could readjust your microphone a little bit, okay?
Okay, I'll speak up.
Okay, thanks.
My turn too. Okay, so yeah, so sorry about that. And so if you're a federal contractor and you have a contract of at least $10,000 when it comes to the executive order, you have to comply with that. If you have $15,000 contract, you have to comply with the 503. And if you have a $150,000 contract, you have to comply with that. And what it basically means is that you have somewhere, you have a policy, EEO policy, that says you'll not discriminate against any employee or applicant based on these attributes in the areas of all employment actions, and that's hiring, recruiting, terminating, demotion, things like that. And who is required to have a written AAP and use the contract portal. It's supply and service contractors at this time. And you have to have a written AAP if you have an executive order or contract, or if you've got a contract that has 50 or more employees, and it's $50,000 aggregate over a 12-month period. That means that if you have two contracts that are $25,000, you've met the threshold. You have to have a written AAP in regards to women and minorities. It's Executive Order 11264. Regarding Section 503, they go for disabilities.
I never got into it. Yeah.
So, yeah.
The couple first episodes, and then by the time I went to watch it, I was like,
If we can have everyone put themselves on mute, we're hearing someone's conversation.
Yes, for individuals with disabilities, 50 or more employees, and you have to have a contract, a single contract of $50,000 in a 12-month period. And for the Vietnam era veterans, the 50 or more employees and $150,000 or more in a single contract in a period of 12 months. Currently, the construction group is not included in this portal. So this first round is just for supply and service contractors. Okay, so why is OFCCP requiring use of the contract portal? Well, historically, they've not been able to track the tens of thousands of establishments that are required to have a written AAP. They have no way of tracking subcontractors. And keep in mind that there's a no tier threshold. That if you are a tier 5 subcontractor, you need to comply with affirmative action. You have to meet certain thresholds. You need to comply and have a written affirmative action and go on and register and certify via the portal. The OCCP, there was an issue where they've been auditing companies, same companies year over year, and they've only resulted in like a 2% finding. Keep that 2% in your mind because closer to the end of this presentation, I'm going to show you how that plays out in dollars. And then in 2015, they were audited themselves by the Government Accountability Office, and they determined that close to 85% of companies that received a scheduling letter did not submit it written AAPs within 30 days of receiving that letter. So what is the contract portal? It's just a portal where you go on, you register, and you certify annually that you have a written AAP, and you maintain those written AAPs. When contractors are certified, they're not only certifying that they have written AAP, but they're also certifying that they continually maintain and meet the requirements of the program. And that means auditing your plans annually, keeping up with record keeping, looking at outreach, goal assessment, internal, external dissemination, and training. and so forth. So here's the timeline. February 1, they opened all the registers. March 31st, they allowed contractors to go on and certify. And then by the end of June 30th, everyone who is a self-service contractor has to go on and register and certify, regardless of whether they have a written AAC plan or not. So for anyone out there that has a June 1st plan date, then we let you know that and if you've not certified, we will let you know that you certified as of the day you actually go on, log on, and click the certify button. So that means that you're actually certifying for the coming year 2022, 2023. And that only gives you 30 days to compile prior year information, get that to your AAC provider, have them complete the written reporting and send that back to you. And that's a really short time. So if anyone has any questions or anything about that, feel free, at the end, we can review those. Now, the contractor portal process tips. So when you first go into the portal, you're asked to provide your EIN, and you're asked to look 2018 EEO report. You're asked to provide the headquarter or company number and the business unit. And if you look at your EEO report up in the upper left-hand corner, and you go on and you fill those forms, you hit continue, and the system pre-populates your company information as it was 2018. If the company wasn't in existence in 2018, or if you sold your company after 2018, or merged with another company, you have to go on and manually create your plan within the system. So what that means is that you enter in your current EIN, you click this identifier not known button, and you hit continue, and you'll have to enter all your information in manually. It's not that bad. There's a couple of things that you need to know about. First of all, creating a parent company, you should always create your parent company first. If you have several divisions and one of those divisions goes on before you do, that becomes the parent company. So you need to have a meeting to decide who is going to be the parent company and have them log on and register first. You go down through here, if your information is pre-populated, you have to fill this in. Note the DUNS number, you can search on that with the www.in.com link. You can find that real easy. There's a drop down box where you can go in and you can find your NAICS number. Of course, you've got your federal EIN. So again, all company information. So there is a contractor guide as you go along and do this. The parent company is the company that goes on and they create the, or they create a user for all the sub-parent or sub-companies. So when you register, you'll have the screen right here. Much with this, manage establishment. Basically, you're going to use that if something is closed, or if you have to assign an open status to establishment closed. Here's what you're going to be working in the most, my company. This is where you can add and remove establishments or functional business units. Keep in mind that the information that's pre-populated is 2018 information. You'll have to go in and you'll have to make that up to date, and you may until you're adding establishments or removing establishments. Also, you can edit the company profile. Right here is where you go and you add the users. If you want to delete a user, you have to go to this link and remove them, or request that they remove them. So here's just some tips. Again, you'll need to update 2018 headcount and establishments or facts to reflect your current data. If your company's not in existence 2018 or didn't require EO reporting, you have to enter the new company data manually. If you were sold after 2018, again, you'll have to enter that identifier not known in the manual, enter your EIN and your other existing data. So a parent company will need to be set up for subsidiary, and in regards to colleges and universities, they share federal EIN sometimes. So again, you'll have to have a meeting and coordinate and see who is going to be the parent company, and then have that individual add the users. So again, invite admin users. They can modify all company records. They can invite new users and assign those users to the different establishments. They can change most information except for EIN. The non-admin users can modify establishments or functions that the admin has assigned them to. And non-users can view, but they can't make changes to the headquarters or parent company. We recommend that you originally set up 2 admin users. That way, if one leaves, you won't be locked out of the system. If that happens, you'll have to go on with the link below, request formally. You'll have to request someone contact you to set up a new admin user for your field. So here is just some fictitious data I entered in to give you a what it looks like. I have my company headquarters right here, and I have my head count. I have who the email who's assigned to this. Okay, and right now I'm not certified. I'm over here, you know, you click on the button if there's anything you need to make, you can do that. I come down here to my establishments. Note that I've got different head count, and I've assigned responsibility to these establishments to new users. So certification and declaration. So there's 2. The first option, you're saying yes, you're compliant, you have a written AAC, and you're doing everything you should be doing. The second one, you're saying you're not compliant. Again, regardless of whether you're compliant or not compliant, you have to go on and register and certify by the end of the year. And then the third one, you're still compliant. This is for new contractors that are still in like the first 120 days and they're still developing their plan. We can certify and declare. The portal allows anyone to go in and certify and declare, but that more than likely should be 1 or 2 individuals, and it's either the person at the highest level in the organization or the designated official. You go on, this is what the certification page will look like, and you'll just click down through here all the functions or establishments you want to certify. And then the next phase of this is once you're certified, registered and certified, you'll be receiving some kind of a notification when the OFCCP wants you to upload your AAP plans and all the supporting data. So here's the evaluation outlook for the OFCCP. So The contractors who selected option 2, which is, they don't meet the requirements certification, they'll more than likely be on a scheduling list for compliance evaluation. Those OFCCP already told us this. In third quarter of 2021, they announced that they are planning on hiring 188 employees. So they're going to build themselves up where they have the manpower to do all these compliance evaluations. And we know that they've already looked at the primary focus is going to be on people processes, like hiring, promoting, termination, and pay equity, total compensation. So here's just a 10-year look at the OFCCP. In 2011, they had 775 employees who were doing a little over 4,000. Come down here, and even prior to the pandemic, their numbers were significantly lower. They lost a lot of people. They did very few evaluations. That's going to change. Again, they're getting ready to hire 188 people. We're going to increase those numbers. So when I was talking about the 2% over a 10-year period, that's over $211 million. And this money isn't going to the OFCCP. This money is paid out to employees who've been discriminated. It's huge. So that is over a 10-year period. Over 272,000 people receive payments. These links below, they have more information. They have it broken down, like what kind of discrimination, was it like sexual discrimination, was it religious discrimination? So it's pretty interesting. So we have a moment. Click on those and take a look there.
Tanya, we did have a question that came in.
Okay.
And so the question was, so the person certifying shouldn't just be an HR team member, correct?
We are saying, well, you're attesting to, with penalty, that your company meets all the requirements. So I'm thinking that should be someone a little higher up, someone who has responsibility for compiling and creating their affirmative action plan, or the individual at the highest level, which is like a CEO. Just know what you're attesting to and know that you don't take it lightly.
Okay, thank you. And if they have a further question, they can add it to the chat.
Sure. And so the benefits of having a written affirmative action plan, I know it's a lot of work, but it really is a powerful tool. And in working with affirmative action plan for 20 years, they do create a culture where discrimination is not tolerated. Employees, increases their performance and their pride and their satisfaction with the company they work at. And
hey, Tanya, it's Lori. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I just got another note in the chat that says people are having a really hard time hearing still. I don't know if there's any way to move the microphone closer to you. Sorry for that interruption. I just wanted to make sure we gave it another try.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, and then the AAP reporting, it really does provide managers and HR professionals visibility into the workforce that results in better decision making. You follow all the written routine, you follow all of the requirements, regulations. It means that you have a continuation, you have the option of additional federal contracts. So that's the one thing that they can do. They can take away your contract if you suspend them. They can take away from earning or keep your contract. And, also, it reduces legal expense claims and discrimination for discrimination and harassment. You know, if you think about it, if someone puts a claim in against your company, like a CEO claim or a claim, all the employees know about it. And if they hear one employee receive some kind of a monetary benefit, you're more than likely to see more claims coming forward. So May 20th, the OFCCP sent out their first scheduling list. And I was trying to show it to you, but on this link below, can everybody see my screen? I'm gonna show you what it looks like.
Yes, I can see your screen, Tanya.
Okay, so what it is just an Excel spreadsheet that they send out or they provide. And it just shows the parent company, shows the establishment, the location. And it also shows what kind of review type it is. The establishment or the FAP or the CMCE review. And there's about 400 companies on this list. Kind of interesting to look at. So again, that link, you know, after you can take the time. You can sort it by company or by state. So in less than 45 days of May 20th, contractors who are on this list will receive a certified letter saying that they have, that the contractor has 30 days to respond to the OFCCP. And what that means is that they have 30 days to get together their written AAPs and their supporting documentation. And so this list is not all inclusive. For example, if the OFCCP receives a complaint, they may send out a scheduling letter without including the contractor's name on any existing or any future listings. So, and this is what a scheduling letter looks like. You're going to receive it certified mail. And it's just going to tell you what kind of review it is, whether it's a CMCE or whether it's a FAP or compliance review. And right here, there's a link and it will scheduling letter along with the itemized list of documents that you need to require. Come down here. Here's your itemized listing. This is for the, again, executive order 11264. There's the 503 for individual disability. There's the DEBRA for veterans. All the documentation, and then you're required to provide supporting documents. So when does the OFCCP allow extensions? Only in extraordinary circumstances, and they've always had this statement. But they did tell us this last year going forward, very few extensions will be granted, regardless of whether they're extraordinary or not. So, and there was a question that Bill had asked on behalf of the PTAC members last year. Which employees must contractors include in AAP data? And of course, we know anyone that's on the payroll, anyone who receives a W-2, full-time, part-time, contract, per diem, day labor, or temporary employees. And then there's an addition in the regulation that says, and maybe independent contractors. These are the people we normally see that have the 1099s. They're not on our payroll. But what happens and what we see in like newer companies is that they blur the line between independent contractor and employee. This is why we have the Darden factors. And the Darden factors, you know, there's 13 of them. You review those, and there's no specific number, but if you meet certain criteria, your independent contractor looks more like an employee. So, as I said, you see this in a lot of newer companies, and it happens with the best of intentions. They have an independent contractor who's having a hard time paying his quarterly taxes. So, you know, one of your managers works out a deal where, oh, you'll put him on the payroll, and you'll just, every pay year, you'll get 25% federal income tax. Just kind of help him out, you know, help him manage his business. To do that, you turn him into an employee.
Tanya, we had a question here.
Yes,
It said, what about temps that are not on our payroll, but are on an agency's payroll?
no, you don't have to include them. They're, you know, working on behalf of another company.
Thank
Mhm. And there, you know, there are other cases of where, like, say, you know, you have an independent contractor and you find out, you know, his wife is having twins and it's a high risk pregnancy, this actually happened. You know, manager comes to me and says, you know, let's try to give him benefits. Let's try to give him on our insurance. So if you do that, he becomes an employee. And if they look like an employee, do things like that, they are their employee, and they're entitled to certain rights that are covered under several laws, and they're entitled to benefits. So it can't be, you know, both. They have to be an independent contractor or they have to be an employee. And you know, I know that the Darden factors are really confusing, and there's no specific number. Like if someone meets 3 of these requirements, does that mean that they're an employee? You know, the OFCCP doesn't give us any guidance. So what we know is that if you create an independent contractor as an independent contractor, employee as an employee, you won't have any of this. Okay, so here's our team. Diana and Roy Hall and Carolyn and myself. And we're here to help in any way we can. Here's some helpful links and contact information that I've provided. All attendees today will receive a PDF for this morning's webinar and a copy of ERA's AAP compliance and implementation checklist. And now we'll turn over to Diana to talk about our membership model.
Awesome. I'll just spend 2 minutes on it. Thank you, Tanya, for all of the information. We really just wanted to heighten awareness because we don't want you to put your contracts at risk, because not going through the certification process will either put your contracts at risk or it will possibly put you on that list to be audited. So if you don't want to end up on the audit list, which is a whole nother realm of things to handle, for sure, you don't want to miss the deadlines for certification. So just again, as for those, we know there's some members on. Thank you for some of our members who are on the call today. And we understand there's definitely some who are just part of PTAC and not members. And so we just wanted to make you aware of our services real quick here. So I won't spend a lot of time on it. We have 4 major buckets. And again, we're a nonprofit HR association. So training and development. So for those of you who really don't have the resources in-house to conduct training, or we offer public and private on-site training. We have HR consulting services, which is the umbrella in which our affirmative action plan work and the affirmative action hub I mentioned earlier does fall under. We offer engagement surveys, compensation, because there's a lot of focus from the OFCCP on wage and compensation and fairness, you know, pay equity. So definitely we have a team of individuals who can help with that as well. And we have recruiting services, because we know a lot of you are faced with the hiring challenges of today's market. And so that's another piece. We have HR best practices, which is a hotline. There's live individuals that you can speak with if you're a member that can help you navigate through compliance and other types of issues. If you're just a HR department of one, or just if you're stumped by something or need to know what's the latest and greatest on certain topics. And then we do have our news and legal updates that we do provide our members as well. And so next slide, please. For those of you who are members, we are having a referral membership drive right now. So you get an extra 20% off your next ERA membership. It's called the ERA Rewards Program. So again, for those of you who are current ERA members on this call, please do be aware of that. We'd love your referrals. And next slide. For those of you who want to possibly consider becoming a new member, we do have some complimentary services that we're offering those who become new members, which includes the options of a learning strategy analysis, an engagement express survey, which is just one of our more modified, shorter versions, or a 1-hour consultation review with one of our compensation experts. Next slide, please. And for those of you who are not ready to become a member, but you still need help, we call this our SOS package. So you've heard what Tanya had to say today, and you're like, oh my God, we don't have an AAP plan, and how many days are left in June? No worries. Up through June 17th, we will be offering, again, if you don't want to place membership with ERA, that's fine, but you still need help with AAP, Affirmative Action Plan, in the whole certification process. We're offering a 25% off discount on our non-member rate. And so someone from our sales team could help with you. So you will get a copy of this presentation. So the telephone numbers and all that are available, so that you know how to reach us and reach out. Because I think there were 6 people when you had the poll earlier that said they were not ready. So I don't know if that means you totally don't have a plan, or if you're in the middle of a plan, or whatever that means. So we're here to help. And that's, again, why we wanted to at least share this information, because it's all about helping you to maintain your contracts, not get audited if possible, and just to be compliant, based on the requirements, if you do meet those thresholds that Tanya had referenced earlier. And I think that may be it for me. Is that it? Yep. Awesome. Questions? It's probably best to put them in chat so that people aren't talking over each other. So.
Tanya, I have a question that came in on chat. It says, if we are currently below 50 employees, but anticipate going over that number this year, do we need to comply?
So if you are expecting to go over 50, I would get yourself ready to, you don't have to comply now, but get yourself prepared, get everything together. Like I said, we have an implementation checklist. Within 120 days of hitting that number, actually within, well, that's for new contractors. Within 90 days, you have to have that affirmative action and registered and certified.
Okay, we had another question that just came in.
Mhm.
It says, is that 50 employees for the establishment or for the total corporation? So I'm thinking that maybe they have some divisions.
Mm-hmm. Well, what it is that you'll roll up into, if you have less than 50, you'll roll up into your headquarters. And so that will be, so you'll have one establishment.
So I guess in summary, that the 50 employee limit is at the corporation level or at the highest level of the company, not just an individual division or business unit.
Well, it can't, so it can be per establishment, but if you have smaller establishments, you roll up into the headquarters.
So I can take that one, Tanya, if you'd like.
Yes.
Okay, so Bill, you're correct. The threshold for determining whether you need to prepare a written affirmative action plan is 50 employees corporate corporate-wide, company-wide. But when determining how many plans that you'll need, the regulations say that for each establishment where you have 50 or more employees, then you have to have a separate affirmative action plan for each of those establishments. And then establishments with fewer than 50 employees, then as Tanya just said, roll into one of the other plans, and you can use several criteria to determine where they would roll into.
Okay. Another question, Tanya, that we have says, I am new to my organization. How do I know if my predecessor already registered?
Okay, well, you would have to contact the OFCCP. If you don't have access to that individual email, definitely have to contact, and there are links, we included those on the helpful links page. Contact them and ask them if it's already been set up, because if that individual registered, they registered with their email, and you won't be able to access that until they remove her, or that individual, and make you the primary.
Okay. Another question that came in says, the contracts I receive require me to check yes or no if I have filed all my AA documents. But I'm not required to file since I'm under 50 staffing. Do I just check yes, as NA is not an option?
Do you have, is that an option of NA?
NA is not an option.
Oh, it's not an option. Okay, well, you don't have to comply with the written AEP. You have less than 50.
Okay. Another question that came in says, although we have AAP plans, but are a federal construction contractor, it's not necessary to enter on an OFCCP, correct?
Correct, because you are a construction, if you're construction only, you don't have to register and certify by June 30th. Eventually, you probably will, but for this go around, they're just focusing on services.
Okay. Well, we will wait here a second to see if we get any final questions. And while we're waiting, I want to, Tanya, I want to thank you and Diana and the team from the ERA. You presented a lot of information that, frankly, I wasn't up to speed on, so I learned quite a bit. And I'm sure most of the attendees who are not ERA members probably learned quite a few things as well. Once again, if you have not already entered into chat, if you registered for this webinar via PTAC, please send me in chat your name and your company so I can record your attendance. And if you join by phone, please send me an email at coxw2@ohio.edu to let me know you're here so I can put down that you attended. And if you're not a PTAC client and would like to know more about our services that are free and how we help businesses pursue and win federal, state, and local contracts and subcontracts, please go to our website, ptac.ohio.edu, and you can read about our services. And also then there's a tab for new client registration. So I'm not seeing any further questions. I will leave the webinar open for a little while so that people can enter into chat their attendance. But at this time, I'm going to end the recording.
Bill, we have
Yes.
a couple of slides.
Oh, you have a couple more slides? I'm sorry.
No,
Please.
that's all right. No, we have some upcoming training. We want to make
Okay, great.
about. And again, everyone's going to be getting a PDF of this presentation, so they have they can click on the registration link. This a quarterly lesson learn is going to be our next one, June 17th. and that is free and it's available to all members and non-members. So feel free to join. We'd love to have you. And then, oh, that didn't. There we go. So we're starting our affirmative action training as of July 26th. It's going to be a 2-hour virtual training. It's going to be the introduction, the basics of the affirmative action program. And they're again available to members and non-members at a price. So we would just love everyone to join that. And lastly, we have we really enjoy your feedback and we want to improve our webinars. And so if you would please click on the link or use the QR code to access our survey. It won't take but 5 minutes to complete. I really appreciate that. And also, if you are SHRM, here is the code for 1 credit for attending this webinar. Thank you, and we really appreciate your time.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Tanya and Diana and your team. This was very educational. Like I said, I'm going to stop the recording now, and I will leave the webinar up. So in case anybody has to continue to submit their attendance information, and everyone else, thank you very much for attending today, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate the opportunity to use the platform to spread the word. Certification, June 30th. Don't forget.